Is that fundamental belief, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Some people are divided by religion, yeah. Oh, yeah. Some people are divided by their greed, yeah. Some people are divided by deception, yeah. Oh, yeah. Some have a lot of money but still in need, yeah. The time has come to help your hurting brother. Time has come to think about your sister. Can't turn a blind eye to their need, yeah. Share some love to help your hurting brother. Share some love to help your fallen sister. One God, one faith, one destiny, yeah. It's time for unity, yeah. Deception is tumbling down, live in unity, yeah, yeah. Division must be broken down, unite in dignity, yeah. United under God we stand. Unity is power for all. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Well, everything around us is changing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nothing will ever be the same, yeah. Limitless scope for transformation, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yet no one has the answer for the pain, yeah. Selfishness and greed have many blinded. Heartlessness has many people suffering. Why can't we see our brothers' pain? Yeah. Children are hungry and they are crying. Mothers are hurting and they are sighing. Yet all we care about is gain. Yeah. It's time for unity. Yeah. Deception is tumbling down. Live in unity. Yeah. Yeah. Division must be broken down, unite in dignity, yeah. United under God we stand. Unity is power for all. Stand for unity, yeah.
You have been watching the latest development, and you seem to be very unsure of what to do next. You know something is about to happen, but again, you simply keep watching without a clue as to what to do next. Wake up, my brothers and sisters. You must move now to save yourselves. You must move now to prepare yourselves for the peril ahead. To delay is to open yourself to serious trouble, and there will be no one to blame but you. Lifeline Financial Programs has always been telling you that things will get very serious very quickly if you do not move now to prepare for what is coming. Nothing will get better. We are on a downhill ride. You must get up and move now to save yourself. It is predicted that you will be having serious financial problems soon. Will you sit and wait until everything has crashed then say, if I had known? Find us today at Lifeline Financial Programs. We have the best plans to keep you alive during the trying times ahead. Mark my word. You will remember every word I say. Don't wait until everything has fallen apart and you are running around like a chicken without a head. Find us at Lifeline Financial Programs today. We will help you find a way. Call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvlimited@gmail.com.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
evening, good evening, good evening, and let me welcome you to another episode of the Raw Truth. And it's an absolute pleasure just being back here with you another Monday evening to share some amazing information with you. While the world is turning and while things are happening in a way that might be a little frightening to many, we are still seeing some very interesting developments which gives hope to our people. While everything seems to be going crazy everywhere, there is hope that some good things are happening to help our people to stand, to redeem themselves, to reposition themselves, to grow, to develop, to become. Absolutely. It is perhaps a little frightening for most of us who have watched history throughout the years. We have studied history. We have looked at the developments happening from as far as our forefathers have implemented some absolutely amazing achievements. However, at this point in our time, it seems all is lost, and it's very sad that we as a people have seen the decline, the absolute disregard, and the decline of the very standards which have made us a people, the very standards which have kept us dignified and decent. These standards seem to have evaporated, perhaps, and even rendered null and void by some of us who think we have the ultimate redress for the madness. I dare say, and I submit tonight, that until we get to a place where we all can reclaim and reestablish the decency, the principles which were established by our forefathers, we are absolutely going nowhere. Whether it is medicine, whether it is education, whether it is sociology, whatever it is, when you look at all the different aspects of life, to include the reestablishment of the occupation of our lands in a way that is what should I say? Yes, in a way that makes sense to the Aborigines of the Americas, North to South America. Until we get back to that place where our people become engaged in their own development, nothing is going to save us from the peril ahead. The only way we're going to find a way out of this madness is by finding a way back to our roots, where we came from. Our roots, which was established by our forefathers. The Indians, whoever you call those, our people, our forefathers, they are, yes? Until we re-establish a connection with the culture and the history that was established by those people, we are absolutely on a downhill ride, never to be restored. Tonight is going to be an absolutely very important presentation, and it will open to you the history which they do not want you to know, the history which has been hidden for generations, and until now most of us find it absolutely unbelievable to even learn, in part, some of the things which were hidden from us in ways that are absolutely blind. It's like blindfolding us, literally. It's right there in plain sight, yet hidden. And this is absolutely quite interesting to note. It is the Premier of the Virgin Islands, Andrew A. Foy, who said, our people do not like to read. And this may be some of us. And maybe he's true. Because if these things are hidden in plain sight, then it means that we have not been doing much research at all. Neither have we been interested in even finding out some of the things which make us the people we are, we were, and we can become. Yes, this is going to be one of the perhaps most important presentations in your lifetime to help you understand exactly who you are, where you're coming from, and where we are going as a people. Now we are hearing about the Great Reset. The Great Reset. Everything is set to change. How will you, my brothers and sisters, relate to this change? When the ships stop coming to your shores, how will you find food? When they turn off the tap in your house, how will you find water? When the electricity goes, talking about a reset, right? Yes. Strike the button and everything is back to normal, where it began. When the electricity goes, where will you find power? I want you to begin to think, because we have to go back where we are coming from. And this is an absolute matter of urgency. It was this evening I was having a talk with a very close associate of mine. And already I'm hearing Christmas music and everybody's jigging and dancing and the bulbs are up and all the Christmas dressing is all over the place and all of that is happening. And it came to me that when this year is done, next year is not going to be one of the nicest years in the memory of the civilization of mankind. 2022 will not be one of the years you will want to remember in modern history. And it will get worse as we move into 2025. And ultimately, by the time we get to 2030, there would have been, from what I see, and based on our studies, a total reset. A total reset. Right now, we are experiencing just the tail end of it. How are you feeling at this point? Do you feel something more is coming? What are you seeing? Are you seeing something happening in a way that you perhaps will be wondering how the hell you're going to survive all of this? Is this what you're seeing? What are you feeling? Many of us know something is happening, but you can't tell exactly what it's going to be or what it will be. You know something is happening, but you're not sure exactly what it is. How is that? How does that make you feel? The great ancestors, the great spirit of the universe, the great creator is trying to tell you that you must begin to prepare now if you have not. And if you have been preparing, you must put the final preparations in place to meet this crazy reset as it takes its place among us across the world. This is not a joke. Who will stand while all this is happening? Some of you might have heard about the Aborigines people. Have they died? Or are they still very much alive across the Americas? This and more when we come back in a minute. Don't move.
Let me welcome you back to another episode of The Raw Truth. And for those of you who are watching us on Facebook, please go to PSI TV, to that page, like the page. If you're watching us from Facebook, please go to Facebook, YouTube, that is. If you're watching us from YouTube, go to YouTube and subscribe to the page. If you're watching us from LinkedIn, let me welcome all our LinkedIn viewers. Please go to the page, like the page, become a member, because we will continue to bring you some absolutely amazing, incredible stuff right here on The Raw Truth and PSI TV. For those of you who need to invite your friends in, you better do so now, because this is going to become a very hot discussion. It's going to be one of the most shocking ones you've had in a long time. This is where you get the raw truth. Nothing but the truth, so help me God, this in the courthouse. Nothing but the raw truth. The truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. We have online tonight the IROQUOIS of the Iroquois Confederacy coming to us out of Pennsylvania. And of course, when the day is done, he's an absolutely amazing warrior for truth. He has been sharing with us over many months now. And we here being part of the Iroquois Confederacy makes it, and it becomes an absolute honor having this great gentleman with us to share with us some amazing truths tonight. And it becomes quite important for us to go back into history, to go back into our existence, to go back where we began, where it began, to go back where it all happened. And tonight, we will be taking you down memory lane into some real history, into some real history. How I was going to say it? Because it becomes absolutely critically important for us to understand where we are tonight. Tonight we are dealing with the very people who created the great law of peace, the very people whose constitution, the government of the Americas, the great United States of America, and all other governments have built their constitution. We go back that far to the people upon whose backs governments were shaped across the Americas, North to South America. We go back to that place, and we are now reconnecting with the very people who shaped history, the Incas. Yes? All of these people, the hieroglyphs and all the things that we learned, the pyramids, name it all, the great achievements achieved by our people who are called black, which I disdain the name because there's no human being that is black. We are the copper-colored people. The achievements of the copper-colored people that we have seen across the years, that we have seen in history. Little told of it. Little told of it. But tonight, the very people themselves who form the basis of all of this development are actually here with us on this program. Handed down from generation to generation, the wealth of knowledge across the Inca Confederacy comes to us tonight from Chief Kota Kibe, an absolutely amazing teacher. An absolutely amazing teacher. He comes to you as one who is prepared to share with you in a fashion that will absolutely break your little heart to know that you have not been able to have learned all of this before. I'm sure I'm seeing the Inca and the Grand Inca in the background there. Greetings and honor. In Lake Alaka Ing, my beloved people.
In Lake Alaka Ing, I'm the Inca. This is Melissa. The Grand Inca she's off camera.
I would love.
Y'all
Oh,
love,
everybody's there.
y'all in the building.
Come on, we want to see
You got a
you all.
time key in the building.
Yeah. Where's the
Face in the
place?
place.
Caption Graces with the beautiful
Ah, here she comes.
There you go. All right, there you go.
You said give her a minute.
Amazing. Now, this is the Iroquois Confederacy. That's the family, the Grand Council of Elders, all offsprings, all. It's just an amazing bunch of amazing copper-colored people, the people of the Americas. And let me tell you something. It's an absolute honor having you all, my beloved brother. And before we move on, tell us a little about the Iroquois Confederacy. It's probably pretty new to most people. This is something that many people may never have heard of in their lifetime, but absolutely a very powerful nation, a very powerful people. Give us a little backdrop as to where you are and what has happened up to now. Talk to us.
Well, can you guys hear me? Hear me all right?
Yes, you're cool. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, well, the Iroquois Confederacy, Aboriginal American people. The Confederacy dates back in the land before time, as they say, time immemorial, meaning old beyond memory. As a matter of fact, in the 18th century, 1700s, 1800s, etc., our Confederacy was the world's oldest participatory democracy on planet Earth. Due to the fact Europe was not a democracy, Egypt was not a democracy. Matter of fact, no place, only except the Americas, was there a democracy, a participatory government of light and honor and respect and truth and justice. In the words of our ancestors, "In la in," which means the light within me honors the light within you, for we are of the same light. As I like to say, the same blood, the same mud. Can you dig it?
My brother,
Right.
we have had many moments of interaction, many moments of knowledge, many interesting developments as we share between nations. And the people across the Americas, the Caribbean region, and all else, we have come to appreciate and respect the fact that our people are great. Our people are the historians of all time. Our people have built the pyramids. Our people have established some of the greatest inventions of time. Yet we hear little of that, my beloved brother. And when the day is over, the very credit that is to be given to our people for their greatness has been taken away from us. I'm sure you'll be breaking into that tonight to help us to understand the significance of the copper-colored people of the Americas.
There we go. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to go on a great journey to give everybody an understanding on who we are as the Aboriginal peoples of the Americas. Not to be confused with a Native American or anything like that, or a U.S. citizen or any type of citizens foreign to our own jurisdiction, but definitely we are the peoples of the Americas from time immemorial. The pyramid builders, as you stated, we created fantastic architecture, mathematics, invented zero and the concept of zero, complete form of writing that's still rarely understood today and that has withstood the test of time. Unfortunately, a lot of our people in the Americas are not exposed to this due to the fact that a lot of people have been indoctrinated through a type of paper genocide over the years. And since that knowledge was not handed down from one generation to the next, and everybody went along with the status quo, that became a problem for a lot of our people. And a lot of our people today are experiencing those problems because they have forgotten who they were and really don't understand who they are as a people on planet Earth. And there are some some laws at work that govern and dictate how you're going to live your life. And you get to choose. The important thing is you get to choose. Those of you out there get to choose how you're going to live your life.
Yes.
But without having all of the information, it's tough to make a choice, especially based on a question that you don't know exists, on information you don't know exists, right?
Yes.
Knowledge you don't have, and if you don't know, you can't do.
Tell me something. The Iroquois Confederacy has been spreading across the Americas in a way that maybe many people don't be aware. Can you tell us where we find the Confederation? Where across the region do we find the Iroquois Confederation? Talk with us.
Well, I like to say I could show better than I could tell, I guess. It's good to see what's happening. Okay, let's see what's going on. Select window or screen. Okay, so Firefox. Okay, so let's do it this way. If I may, can you guys see that?
He's actually going online now to bring up some stuff. No, we're not seeing you yet. We're not seeing
Oh, it's kind of slow on my end. What happened?
That's okay. He's actually trying to bring up some stuff on the screen for you to see.
Oh.
Sure it's going to be very interesting as well.
There we go. We back in. What happened?
Yeah, no.
Were you able to see that?
No, we're not seeing you yet.
Okay. You got me back, at least?
You are here.
Okay. So let's see. I'm doing say a select window or screen. And so what do I do? Entire screen, maybe?
Do your desktop, maybe.
Okay, there we go.
Do your desktop.
All right, so hang on. Let's see. All right. Now, are you seeing anything now?
No.
No, you're just still looking at me?
You're just still looking at you. I guess maybe
Still
your browser, hit your browser. That probably might work. And while he's doing that, I'm gonna be.
Yeah, I did. I'm hitting screen share. It says share screen. Let me do entire screen. See if that works. Okay. Is there an entire screen up now?
No, we're still looking at you.
So.
I guess you have to go to your browser. What if you're trying to find a browser? You hit that browser, put it in, and then you'll be good to go. It does happen.
No.
These things are cool. It does happen. Part of the process.
Not happening?
Add screen. All right. I'm actually.
Okay.
Let me see if I can.
There we go.
Good.
Now that should be it. Okay.
There you go.
There it is. Okay.
There you go. All right.
You got it. We good.
All right. Just a little patience, my beloved sisters and brothers. Yes, we're in now.
As an introduction, as most people have been taught in school, Christopher Columbus story and all of that good stuff. That story is light years away from the truth, if I to be so gracious to say. History that most people learned in school, and this is a little great article to help with the insight, and then we're going to pull up some laws and things of that nature, and then go down the rabbit hole, so to speak, on understanding who we are as a people of the Americas. And if you like, most people, you went to a colonial-based school system. Most people may have learned in grade school and high school that the Constitution was maybe based on the ancient Greek democracy, again, which is light years away from the truth, since ancient Greece was not a democracy. Rome, etc., and all of those places also was not a democracy. Again, but children are taught today about the origins of their governments is also disappointing. There may be some states and or places and spaces may have updated their teachings to include our influence, but it's not widespread. That's why we're here to help facilitate, and you're here to help facilitate as well. Apparently, maybe their founding fathers simply created this government out of thin air, or maybe it was influenced by some government of Europe or someplace like that. But again, there was no democracy anywhere in Europe at that time. The true history of the U.S. Constitution is that Constitution is modeled both in principle and form on our great law of peace, Kaniona Sonowe, of our ancestral government style Iroquois, or we are known as Rotonosoni. And I'm Onkwe Honwe, the Kaniona Sonowe, or Iroquois Confederacy of Aborigine people. And this is absolutely unequivocally historical fact. While there may have been other influences when compared side by side, the influence of our great law of peace is irrefutable. So, to prove this, in 1987, the United States Senate acknowledged that our great law of peace served as a model for the Constitution of the United States via Senate Congressional Resolution 76. And we just put that in there. Pop it in. Let's see what we come up with. Oh, look at that. You can even get better. PDF. So we have some actual facts lining up with what's going on. Iroquois Confederacy of Nations, hearing before the Select Committee on Indian Affairs of the United States Senate 100 Congress first session. And it was to acknowledge the contribution of our ancestral government-style Iroquois Confederacy of Nations to the development of the United States Constitution and to reaffirm our continuing government-to-government relationship between our people and the United States established in that contract called the Constitution. So it's a contract between two peoples, authenticated U.S. government information. And since that U.S. Constitution was a model and foundation for the Charter of the United Nations, therefore, our great law of peace is also the foundation of international law. So I guess you could say we created all the laws, huh? Everybody just took pieces and bits and spun it around to suit their needs, but the foundation is with our ancestors and what they've laid down from time immemorial. So when their founding fathers look for examples of effective government and human liberty upon which to model a constitution to unite those 13 colonies and many other colonies from the islands, don't matter where you at, and we'll show you what that constitution covers. They found it in the government of our people, of the Iroquois, of the Rotonosoni, of the Kaneonasonoe. And in the 18th century, our league was the oldest, nothing older than the oldest, most highly evolved participatory democracy on earth. A lot of people talk of 5 tribes, but 5 tribes to us in our great law It's 5 nations, and those nations represent areas of the Americas. North America is a nation. South America is a nation. East America and her islands, nations. West America, her islands, nation. Central America, we are the Americas, and it's important to understand this going forward. From an etymological point of view, and etymology becomes very important in understanding the English language due to the fact that it is not our language. It's not the language of Aborigine peoples. English is a cornucopia of European languages smashed together for the benefit of colonization and commerce. For the benefit of colonization and commerce. Even today, English is the world language of commerce. It's the language of commerce. Like business, not regular speaking. And there's laws that come with this speech called jurisdiction. People may have heard of jurisdiction, but jurisdiction, the juris, or the law, the diction, the words. So whatever words you speak, there's a body of law that follows that.
Yes.
English, as they stay here, English, according to this one of billions of websites, we could go to the Google search and you guys could do more in depth. You could search for the same thing that I searched for and come up with the same things and similar things and go down the rabbit hole for yourself. But for an example, English as the language of business and commerce. And it's right there. So everybody right now is speaking the language of business and commerce from Europe. And that's not our language. It's not the language of indigenous peoples. That's the language over the generations we've been taught and indoctrinated with, but it's not the language of our ancestors. English is, without a doubt, the most used language in history. And as such, it is the language of business, period. See, around the world, more companies are making English the language of use to boost understanding or their understanding and efficiency. Using a common language is a must with their world economy expanding beyond borders. This happens because many common language must be used to reach more clients and partners, so they claim. But the reality is English is a combination of all European language, as we'll find out. Let's say, for the most part, most terms are, not all of them, but the most part. Etymon, for example, just to go down what this is. Etymon, and this, by the way, is online etymology dictionary. It's a great point of departure. It's not the end all. There are better books. Definitely, if you have some hard copies, some real old etymological dictionaries, 1800s preferably. If you don't, this is as good as it's going to get. There are other dictionaries you should also seek out, such as a good Constitution dictionary, because when you're dealing with different contracts and different things, especially those in the United States and the territories thereof, you should really look at those contracts, as well as what they call the BVI, British Virgin Islands, which also comes under those same contracts. Therefore, etymology becomes very important, not only of the general English, but also etymology of lawful definitions and legal definitions. English is both connotative and denotative. Connotative is slang, how a word is used. That doesn't have the real power. That's called the illusion right there. But the denotative, the truth of the word, that gives you the reason why the word was created in the first place. A word is nothing but a tool to describe a person, place, a thing, or whatever it is. Words describe everything seen and unseen. Words describe things known and unknown. Hence the words seen, unseen, known, and unknown. There's a term and a word for everything, and if it ain't, one will be made up for it shortly. We think in words. We dream with words. We speak with words. We see words, we hear words. If you're blind and read Braille, you feel words. Music, everything, words. Contracts, words. Everything is words. And if you don't know the meaning of those words in a language you are totally unfamiliar with, and you just say the word and put whatever definition you want to put to it, that's where all the problems begin for everybody. It's because of those words we like to hang on to and refuse to let go of is the problem. When we understand the truth of the word or its origin for being, you understand the thing's origin of being, which is the first immutable law of the universe, the reason for being. What is the reason, the purpose on the surface, or the purpose in existence? Everything has an origin story. Since words define most things, if not all things in existence, to us at least. And again, if we don't know what it is, we'll create a word for it. Then it's up to us to research the words that we speak and see the power that it has and see how maybe they may be using it. It's also important to understand there's always at least a minimum of three, count them, three different definitions for every word and every term out there. There's a connotative definition, how a word is used or applied as. Like I could say, for example, hey, y'all, I'm going to the crib. I'm tired. I'm going to the crib. What I said was, hey, I'm going home. And a lot of people got that. Man, yeah, you're going home. But that's connotatively. Denotative, a crib is totally not that. It's a manger where you keep animals and stuff like that. You know, we don't live in that. But if you continue to call your house that, it'll start to be that on the inside. People's attitudes and actions, etc., so on and so forth. So words are very powerful, and we have to understand the power that we have. As they say, the power of life and death resides in the tongue. So understand how to use your tongue. And understanding how to use your tongue is to understand what these words mean so you can start saying words wisely. So etymon means primitive word, 1570s, and we notice it's of Greek origin, not American, but Greek. Etymon, neuter of etymos, meaning things that are or true, real, and actual. The ology is the study of. So when we add the ology onto the etymon and we get the etymology, we get the study of true, real, and actual. And if everybody wants to know the truth, then study etymology of the words that you speak out your mouth. And we will understand the truth of all things, such as, let's say someone, for example, may consider themselves black, for example. Well, let's back up. Let's before we go there, let's do some words that people use all the time but may not know, to include black, but we'll get into that. So nice, that term. Nice is an adjective, meaning it's a word that describes a person, place, a thing. It is not a person, place, a thing, but it just describes. And the term nice describes someone or an action or a thing. It's being foolish. It's being ignorant. See, it's frivolous, senseless. So when people say have a nice day to you, what they're saying to you and what you are accepting in your life is have a foolish day. See, have an ignorant day, have a frivolous day, have a senseless daggone day. Senseless. And then you go out into the world having a senseless day, not knowing who you are there, Aborigine of America. See, that word nice comes from Old French, not Old Mayan or Aztec or nothing like that, so to speak, but Old French. See, one of them English words and all of that, right? French, Europe. Nice, meaning careless. See, when the French made it up, they understood what they was making up. And they made up careless, clumsy, and weak, poor, needy, simple, stupid, silly, and foolish. So when they tell you to have this nice day and you accept having a nice day and things are nice with you, things are careless, clumsy, weak, and poor. Keeping you needy because you're nice, simple, stupid, silly, and foolish. Meaning you get to keep being ignorant and unaware of who you are and the reality of life around you. But now that reality of life is coming crashing down, COVID-19, CV19, the jab and all that good old stuff that they want to do to people, all the while not knowing the material safety data sheets for the ingredients. And I would advise you look up every ingredient, copy and paste it, search for the MSDS, material safety data sheet for that ingredient, and it will list everything about those ingredients one at a time. Print those off and you'll have everything that's in the ingredients, and then you can make a determination if any of those ingredients are meant to be even remotely connected with your body. You don't have to think about it, argue about it, or debate about it. Just go look for it yourself. Most people don't know what the MSDS sheet was before right now, so I can understand why you didn't know that. But now you do, no excuse. But moving right along, literally, people end up not knowing when they're being nice. So nice went from that to the connotative form, meaning fussy, fastidious, but even they say here that development is extraordinary, even for an adjective. They like, man, we don't even know how they made that jump right there. The same thing for this term, family. A lot of people love to say this term. Don't a lot of people love to say this term? Pakal Bay, where you at? A lot of people like to say this term right here, family, don't they? My family this, my family that, and all of that. Well, here's what you're saying. And look at your situation honestly, but here's what you're saying. Right. Family is a noun. What was that?
Right here with you.
Copy that. Family is a noun. So it is a person, place, a thing. In this case, people. And family means servants of a household, meaning you the slave. Family servants, domestics collectively. The servants in the household, thus also members of a household. See, you become the estate yourself, meaning you become the property, meaning you are the household, including relatives and servants, all in the same. Abstract from familius, meaning servant, slave. And to add insult to injury, this Latin word, because it's a Latin word, see, it's not English, it's Latin. English words don't exist like that. But you'll find Latin, Dutch, French, and all this other stuff. Like I said, cornucopia of languages from Europe. And it's the language of business. But if you don't know the business of the language, then you end up being the servants of a household. You end up becoming the return on investment, or the ROI. You become that. That's what you become. And you become it by your own choice, because you be like signing up for that joint.
So we actually are not speaking, what we call English is actually Latin and all kind of crap. Is that it?
Well, again, family, not meaning what people think it means, and it states the Latin word rarely appears in the sense with parents of children, so it doesn't mean that. It does mean servitude. It does mean a serving woman or a maid. It means all of that, but it does not mean parents with children. If we say what, like the term, what, right? The question what? They got that from where? Old what? Oh, what? Old English. And Old English got it from where?
Wow.
Proto-Germanic. And they got it also the source of Old Saxon, Old Norse, Danish, Old Frisian, Dutch, Old High German, German, Gothic. What? See? What? What? Who? Yeah. You want to keep going? Well, hell no. Wow. You say wow, huh? That's what you said? Wow. That is what you just said. Hey, man, we can keep going all day. This from Scottish. Natural expression of amazement. So Scottish. See my point? Oh, ha, 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 you said. Did you just say ha, ha, ha? You made that sounds?
You bet I did.
I know. Okay, let's look.
English, for God's sake. Can you imagine that?
What happened?
Not even English as we're taught. It's disgraceful.
Was not. Well, if you don't understand what you're speaking, ha, 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 right? Laughter since ancient times. Old English, ha, ha. Euphrates and whatever. I ain't even going there. Astrophanes, Aristophanes, I guess. Aristophanes, Aristophanes. Either Phanes or Fons or Phanes. One or the other. Latin comes from Latin, represented in English, but it's Latin, etc. But nonetheless, as you can see, there you go. Everything you say, you won't see English. Can you dig it? Everything. So what you've been taught in school is useless.
Absolutely.
Useless. And the more higher you went in their schools, the more useless you become. You only become a servant for them because you use their words without knowing the meaning. So you just be like the puppet on the daggone string at that point.
Wow.
Well, it's a lot of people puppets on strings, and some people like to be puppets on strings. I don't, and shouldn't nobody else. But if that's your Pinocchio thing, get your Pinocchio on. You feel me? Get your lion and thieving and all kind of stuff. Can you dig it?
Wow. So
we here to stop that. We here to stop you though.
This has to go back to our original language, the Mayan, perhaps. Is that where it's coming from?
Well, our language, that's for another class, but definitely our language ain't none of their language. As a matter of fact, we didn't use none of their letters and all of that stuff. So our stuff is totally not their stuff. And there's some aspects in our language that's not found in any language on the planet. So that's for another class. But what I will say, understanding what this so-called English stuff is, which is a cornucopia of European languages again, for the most part, not all of it. There are a few words that come from our dialect, very few, but the bulk of it is European in nature. With that being stated, the term American is often misunderstood. And again, everything has three definitions: a connotative definition, a denotative definition, and a law definition, at least, which can all be 180 degrees polar opposites from one another in meaning. So it's important to understand how you speak and what you mean by speaking it. So to clarify what you mean, you might want to throw a clarifier in there. Like when I say American, I'm going to say Aborigine American, or I'll just say Onque Honwe if I'm talking to my people. I might even say it to other people. They might say, what's that? I might say an Aboriginal people, you know what I'm saying? Or Aborigine of America. Whatever the case may be, original American, you know, they come out like that. It may come out, just call me the Ka'in, just call me the light. You know what I'm saying? Body is just a vessel after all, so the light inhabits the vessel, so I'm just the light. That's just manipulating the controls of this automobile called the body, right? Can you dig it? As we all are. But American, originally, this term meant one of the Aboriginal, which is going to be a key word throughout this session. The term Aboriginal, you'll see it time and time again. But the Aboriginal peoples. Now, bear in mind, it does say discover, but let's think about it. You can't go and discover anybody. Like if you and me Bakal Kaimbe and Atanti and Apiyala and Ma Lissa. Like if we just like rolled out and let's say went to a grocery store and just started dropping our flags all in the fresh produce section, right? Boom, talking about we discover fresh produce. Can you dig it? And then we discover in the grocery carts. Then we go discover an automobile in the parking lot. You know, we just go discover it. And when the cops come, we just be like, you know what? We got this doctrine from our people that y'all don't understand and in a faraway place, and they state anybody that ain't us, consider them heathens, and you have the right to discover and take and control their stuff. So based on that, those documents, I have a right to go into, let's say, Whole Foods or whatever the store may be. We have a right to go and drop flags and discover that. What would be the reality when the police came? Like would that happen? Like what would happen if we attempted to go do that? Modern day, right now. What would happen?
Mind you get locked up, brother.
Yeah, the police coming, you might get shot, you might get killed, depends on their flavor and how they feel, but definitely it won't be a good day for you. But here's the thing, since it's not legal to do anything like that, then it was never legal for these people to do what they did because that is what they did. And they can't just say they discovered some stuff when in reality you can't discover people. You can't go to a nightclub or out to any place, to a venue or rally or conference or a meeting, wherever you may find yourself, and just go discover people and have your way with them. Is that legal? Is that lawful to go and discover people? Can you discover people?
Well, my brother, on that note, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, goodness gracious, when we come back, we're going to dig a little deeper into this rabbit hole to find out what in God's name has happened with our people. Who are we as a people across the Americas? When you look at the whole lineup of the Asia-Tisca folks and all of those, when you look at the division of our lands across the Americas, Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, St. Vincent, the BVI, St. Thomas, all of these corporate names. Where did all this come from? Do you understand how seriously nasty has been the matter of divide to conquer? Is this understood? We come back in a minute, and when we come back, we're going to be digging deep into the rabbit hole. Stay connected and share with your friends. Back in a minute.
You have been watching the latest development, and you seem to be very unsure of what to do next. You know something is about to happen, but again, you simply keep watching without a clue as to what to do next. Wake up, my brothers and sisters. You must move now to save yourselves. You must move now to prepare yourselves for the peril ahead. To delay is to open yourself to serious trouble, and there will be no one to blame but you. Lifeline Financial Programs has always been telling you that things will get very serious very quickly if you do not move now to prepare for what is coming. Nothing will get better. We are on a downhill ride. You must get up and move now to save yourself. It is predicted that you will be having serious financial problems soon. Will you sit and wait until everything has crashed then say, if I had known? Find us today at Lifeline Financial Programs. We have the best plans to keep you alive during the trying times ahead. Mark my word. You will remember every word I say. Don't wait until everything has fallen apart and you are running around like a chicken without a head. Find us at Lifeline Financial Programs today. We will help you find a way. Call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvlimited@gmail.com.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
Welcome back, and you're live with us right here on The Raw Truth. And of course, we have with us in the house Inca Kota Kibe, the they call him the Chief Inca of the Iroquois Confederacy. And of course, when the day is over, some absolutely crazy knowledge coming at you tonight. Share with your friends. Get this on your timeline. Share, share, share. Do not allow this to miss or to slip by, because it's going to get very deep tonight as we dig into the rabbit hole to find out, where does it end? What has been the real truth? What is the truth about some of the things we've been seeing, the things we have been taught, the things we come to accept as normal? What's the truth? Inca Kibe is with us, and of course, when the day is over, we continue the search to find more. Now, there are two other matters I would like you to dig in, my beloved brother, because when the day is done, I think our people we have lost ourselves as Americans, North, South America. We have lost ourselves. And when the day is over, we don't know who we are as a people. And I say we collectively as the peoples of the land. Yes? Could you look at the whole matter of the Asia Tisca folks? Let's look at that, because some will call themselves black people, some will call themselves Vincentian, some will call themselves Jamaican, some will call themselves Trinidadian and Tobago and all the guns and all kind of crap. Who are we, my brother? Help us to understand.
Yeah, so where we left off at, we're going to go into finish up with the term American and understand that term. And then we'll look at the Asia Tisca folk, Asiatic people, etc., so on and so forth. And I'll let everybody else, let's let everybody decide on who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could work. How about that? How about that? So again, an American, one of the Aboriginals people in the whole of the Western Hemisphere when the Europeans arrived. Can y'all dig it? Can y'all dig it? So what is the Western Hemisphere? So how about map? Map of the Western Hemisphere. Go to images. Any old map would do, because you just want to get a geographical sense of the map, regardless of what they call stuff on the map. You get one without any names per se, but this is known as the Western Hemisphere, from Greenland, Alaska, Canada, several states of the United States, so-called, Mexico, Central America and whatnot, all of the islands, South America, Antarctica. Can you dig it? So as we can see, this is America. As an example. So the Western Hemisphere, we are the Aboriginal people of the entire Western Hemisphere. We're not separate as a people. We're the
Yeah, are you there? Yeah, it seems we lost him. I'm not sure what's happening. It seems we got cut off right there. Yes. Not sure what is happening there. There is a freeze, I'm sure. Yes. Quite an
that comes over here, right? Asia Tisca. Can you dig it? And like you stated, who are the Asia Tisca folk? Well, again, we just typed that in. Asia Tisca folk. The Asia Tisca folk are of the Nordisk family. Nordisk family book. Here we are, the Runeberg.org, Nordisk Family Book, Asia Tiska Folk 1904, Project Runeberg, etc. Asia Tiska Folk. They made this. This is what they called themselves at the time. So here you go. Nordisk Family Book. And as you can see, these are the same lineage of people. It don't matter if they the Caucasians. Somebody spell Caucasian. Anybody? Spell Caucasian. Where you at? Somebody. Anybody?
C-A-U-C-A-S-I-N. I'm showing up.
Hey, copy that. What's the last part of that? A-S what? A-S what?
A-S-I-N. Asian.
Copy that. Copy that. Can't spell Caucasian without the Asian part. So definitely, these are all of the same lineal group, the same family, the same lineage. And if you notice right here, when we come down to number 18, Negrito, so Asiatic, so-called black people, so-called, because ain't nobody on here black. These two like the same. How come they ain't called black people? You know what I'm saying? How come they ain't called Negritos? This dude just as dark as all these other people and just like these people. How come they ain't all called Negritos? So that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at certain things like that is a problem. It's a huge problem, but nonetheless, Negrito got a specific meaning apparently. But if you from the heritage of the Negritos, meaning Asia Tiska folk, then you are an immigrant in America. Period. You're an immigrant here. If you from any land other than America, the Western Hemisphere, may be an immigrant here. America and American has a specific definition. And I challenge everybody out there to do this experiment. Grab some pennies. Grab some pennies. Get various different pennies. Put them on the back of your hand and read this definition. This definition comes from an American Dictionary of the English Language, Noah Webster, 1828. It's called Webster's Dictionary, 1828.com. And we search for the term American, and in that term we see a native of America. Originally applied to the Aboriginals. Who are the Aboriginals? Great question. The copper-colored races who were already here when the Europeans came, but now the term American, now the descendants of Europeans born in America apply that term to themselves now. See, hijacking of a word. Hijacking of the terms. Yeah.
There you have it.
What is this?
There you have it.
Copy that.
So the folks who we call the what you call them?
Oops.
So-called white people who are the
Europeans or Asia Tiska or Caucasians. I mean,
Europeans, the Filipinos, all of them, one family actually, is it? Yep.
Yeah. Again, Runeberg Project. You'll find Arab, Jude, right? Javan, Korean, Tartars. Yeah. Whatever they're all in there. Again, the term, huh?
No, go ahead. You're doing good.
Okay. Yeah, so Runeberg.org. But here are the faces of those people.
Wow. And when they all, you see, and you mentioned just before you went off that when Columbus came to the Western world, he found people here. Now we're hearing that Columbus discovered a place where people were already living. Other people.
Yeah, well, Columbus didn't discover anything. Again, that's a
Nothing.
myth. It was already here, but he wasn't even the first one here. The truth of the matter is, the Mongols came and invaded in the 13th century, which would be the 1200s.
But this
They
makes
came
this
through the
makes it
Pacific.
criminal. This makes it criminal, my brother, for people to be living on their land and people just walk in and say, "Oh, we discovered it," and then displace people.
Oh, absolutely criminal, like I stated. Yeah, like we ran through the scenario earlier. Like if you and I went to any place and say, "Hey, we discovered this brand new car, we discovered this brand new house, or we discovered whatever we discovered this bank," I'm pretty sure everybody would have a problem with that. That's all I'm saying.
So the Aborigines people need to, at this point in our history, take back our land. Technically, that is what we need to do, isn't it?
Well, the first thing we need to do, most need to do, is everything is on contracts. Now we come back to this contracting thing, and a lot of people willingly, voluntarily, unwittingly, unknowingly, for real, gave up their rights. And that's the problem. When you don't have any rights, you don't have a voice.
Wow.
So you can scream as loud as you want to, but no one's going to hear you, and there will be no changes. Change for the worse will come, but there's no positive change. I haven't seen.
Protest as much as you want.
Well, people been protesting for how long?
Nothing has changed.
Okay. Matter of fact, got worse, ain't it? Unlike the Tuskegee experiments that killed a bunch of our people, well, now they doing that to everybody. They just enlarged Tuskegee to get that, forcing you to get some vaccinations. Want to be mandated and compelled and all this, compulsory and all of this, but that's only, their laws only affect their people. The problem is if you sign up to be their people, or you signed up to be their people. You know what I'm saying? Now you got to unsign for being a people because you should have never been a people in the first place. And the reason why, you was never given free, prior, and informed consent. You never had all the information, all the facts at hand before a decision was made.
Wow.
And to understand that, you got to understand some principles of contracting. You got to understand some of the basics. And some of the basics would be, thank you. Some of the basics, we could sum it up in a few questions. One question I would have for you, brother, and for everybody out there, but listen, here's the scenario. Can anyone lawfully or legally or morally bind anyone to a contract that they never signed, that you never agreed to?
Oh, sure not. Sure not. Sure not.
You say yes?
Oh, no, sure not. I mean, you never signed it.
Oh, sure not.
But nobody can bind it to it. You never signed it.
Got you. Solid no then. Negative. Can't happen. Okay. Second question on top of the first question. Can anyone bind you or anyone else legally, lawfully, morally to a contract, not only one that you never signed, but one that you never authorized anyone else to create on your behalf?
Hell no. Absolutely.
Third question. Third question is, on top of the other two, on top of the contract you never signed, on top of the contract one never authorized one to create on their behalf, but what about one you had no idea of its existence? Can anyone hold anyone legally liable, lawfully obligated, morally obligated to adhere to such a contract bearing those characteristics? Can anyone do that? By any standards of any law, by any government that we are experiencing today?
It is criminal, actually, if you ask me.
That is a criminal action, absolutely.
Yes.
So here's the rub. And fourth question, I'm sorry, I'll say the bonus question to last. So the flip side to those three, I got to ask 3 questions on the other side to balance out the equation. So that's the first 3. Let's get to plus these other 3. Since we got an answer on that side, let's get the answer on this side. We got a no to those 3. Can't nobody do it. Since can't no one do it, nobody. Did you sign the document known as the birth certificate for yourself? Did you sign your so-called birth certificate?
Oh, sure enough. Sure. That never happened.
No, right? Okay. Did you authorize your mother or the Department of Vital Statistics or whatever powers that may be, agency or otherwise, to create that document for you on your behalf prior to you arriving on Earth and or immediately coming out the womb and or maybe even years out the womb? Did you authorize anybody to create such a document for you?
Never happened.
Copy that. Nail in the coffin. Did you even have any knowledge of that document's existence either in the womb or out the womb, immediately out the womb, or within the first at least 10 to 12, maybe even 18 years out the womb? Did you know anything about that document and its true nature and purpose and what the legal language and the ramifications of that document is?
No explanation, nothing sort of. Never happened.
Copy that.
Never happened.
So with that being said, that document is not binding. Now I know a lot of people out there say, well, my mama signed, they could do that. Well, here's another scenario. Let's say your mom and dad go take your credit card and banking information and all your information. Go buy a Lamborghini, wrap it around and smash it up, wrap it around the tree. Then go get out a loan for a Bentley and then go out on the town, staying at the most best hotels, eating the finest food all on your dime. And they do all that within 30 days. So when you get the bill, it's outstanding. Are you liable for that bill?
Hell no.
Is that lawful, illegal, what they did?
It's criminal, actually. That's wrong.
Criminal. So if it's criminal now, then certainly a contract that binds one to servitude without one's knowledge is called what exactly?
It is criminal. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. And so to attempt to hold anyone accountable to say a document not knowing, and only a few people not know, of course, all citizens got to have these documents.
Wow.
Just to let y'all know, if you're a citizen, meaning a foreigner coming into the Americas, you got to have those documents because that's what you got to have, period. But I'm talking to the Aborigine people. So the bonus question for that statement is, can a tool of genocide, a tool that was meant to erase you off the face of the planet, can that tool ever be legally, lawfully, or morally applied to anyone?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Well, see, in the case of our people, and even today, unbeknownst to them, it's an ongoing genocide. The birth certificate, people, is in fact a legal entity, a socio-political construct. And you waive your rights to your existence, all to participate in the socio-political constructionism of commerce. See, that birth certificate Plecker, Walter Ashby Plecker, one of many, but this guy, one of many, and I do mean one of many. He ain't the only one with this to rabbit out the hat. Nonetheless, great. Oops, I think that's a little bit too much. Is that good right there? It's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. All right. Walter Ashby Plecker. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Well, this guy, Walter Ashby Plecker, see, he was a physician and the first Virginia State Registrar of Vital Statistics. He helped create the Department of Vital Statistics. He created the birth certificate. Birth certificate is a word. That word describes an origin and has an origin itself. It originates in Europe and Rome and all of that, and it was done for taxation in the 13th century in Europe, etc., along with the surnames for taxation purposes. But nonetheless, he created that, and he served as the head of that from 1912 to 1946. But the thing about him was he was a staunch poster child, go-getter, promoter of eugenics. Well, what is eugenics, you may say? Great question. Eugenics, well, that's a discredited movement aimed at scientifically proving, quote unquote, my own quotes, white racial superiority, in that quote right there with those, and thereby justifying the marginalization of our people. Since they talking about us, I'm gonna speak in terms and express it how I understand it. Feel free to make and read word for word, but I'm gonna express it because we're going through it. See, they employed this act to preserve racial integrity in 1924, as well as the Indian Citizenship Act. Plecker and Company effectively separated and created two simplified racial categories. And those two categories, amongst three others, and two others for ethnicity, are still used today, especially one of them, which is the term white, and created the term colored, period. Categories white and colored. Along with that came Negro, mulatto, etc., so on and so forth. The law, which remained into effect until 1967 and is still being used to this very day. Again, without you knowing. See, it was overturned by the United States Supreme Court in the case of Loving versus Virginia, which required that a racial description of everyone be recorded at birth and recorded on documents he created, and criminalizing marriages between whites and non-whites, and also sterilization laws. Compulsory sterilization laws came along with that as well. Plecker's policies used scientific, deceptive scientific. I'm going to keep saying it one more time. See, these people used deceptive scientific evidence. Deceptive scientific evidence. Whatever the deception is, for whatever purpose, deceptive scientific evidence.
Says it all.
It could be anything. It could be anything from the virus size or to people size. It could be anything. Deceptive scientific evidence is deceptive scientific evidence. Seems to be a lot of that going on today. But the deceptive scientific evidence to deem the Aborigines, so-called blacks, again, we got coloreds, already kicking it off, the name change, check game. Up here you got colored, And they ain't even get halfway through it before that. Like I said, man, it just be flying all at the. So look, he created it white and colored, but now you got this blacks in here. So you see now the color just instantly changed to the blacks with the deceptive scientific evidence. Now to deem the whole blacks a lesser class of human beings. But they also targeted, we ain't even gonna go over that. Yeah, whatever. Nonetheless, you can read that on your own. I ain't gonna utter that because that's the cop out right there. They can say what they want to on that commentary. But he asserted, made it seem like that our people somehow were mixed blooded with Negroes, so to speak. This whole thing that was made up, the colored. Nonetheless, Plecker pressured state agencies into doing what? What'd he do to our people?
Classifying Indians as colored.
He did what exactly? He reclassified the who is what now?
The Indians as colored.
Man, as colored, and we just found out that the coloreds are called the what? As well. The coloreds is called the what?
Well, you can't tell a black man is Indian, brother.
Well, I'm not doing it. Walter Ashby Plecker and Encyclopedia Virginia is doing it. So I ain't got to do nothing. If the so-called black man wants to stay black, that's his fault. But again, you're not black. If I say, look, I'm coming to the airport and I'll pick you up in a black automobile, right? And I'll pull up in this copper brown joint. And I park. Are you going to get in?
Maybe
the question is, are you going to get in the automobile? And I tell you I'm in a black automobile, but I actually come to you in what is brown, but I call it black, but let's say copper, brown, whatever. And I pull up and park and, do my thing. But I'm just parked and you don't know what I look like or the automobile. You just know it's black. A black whatever.
If your brain is working, you would never enter that thing, brother. One of the days done, that's what it is.
Right. You just go. So everybody knows the difference between, what's black and what ain't black. But black got several definitions and none of them are good. And that's my point right there.
Wow.
And again, if you say words that you refuse to look at the definitions to, who fault is that? Because I bet you when you look down at your skin, it's copper colored, meaning a reddish brown. And I bet you it won't be black, the color of soot or coal.
Wow.
Can you dig it? Right? So that black term is a socio-political construct and is not to be interpreted as being anything scientific, anything to deal with anthropology or anything to do with genetics. None of these terms are as specified by the Office of Management and Budget themselves. 1997, the revisions on the standards of classification on data on race and ethnicity, etc., so on and so forth, for the decennial census on the United States government, authorized by the Constitution in Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, maybe it might be Clause 4, I don't know, but I'm going to think Clause 3, where it talks about the actual enumeration, etc. But let's chew through this and let's get to those facts and see what you really are, because a lot of people call themselves these stuff. So it's good to have you to know what the heck you calling yourself. You make your own choice. It's up to us to tell the truth. It's up to them to listen and abide by the truth. It's up to them to research and see what type of truth that is. But if they discount what's being said, can't say, I didn't tell you.
Wow, wow, wow. And on that note, my beloved brothers and sisters, we're going to take a short break. We come right back and then we dig a little deeper into the rabbit hole. We come back in a moment.
You have been watching the latest development, and you seem to be very unsure of what to do next. You know something is about to happen, but again, you simply keep watching without a clue as to what to do next. Wake up, my brothers and sisters. You must move now to save yourselves. You must move now to prepare yourselves for the peril ahead. To delay is to open yourself to serious trouble, and there will be no one to blame but you. Lifeline Financial Programs has always been telling you that things will get very serious very quickly if you do not move now to prepare for what is coming. Nothing will get better. We are on a downhill ride. You must get up and move now to save yourself. It is predicted that you will be having serious financial problems soon. Will you sit and wait until everything has crashed then say, "If I had known"? Find us today at Lifeline Financial Programs. We have the best plans to keep you alive during the trying times ahead. Mark my word. You will remember every word I say. Don't wait until everything has fallen apart and you are running around like a chicken without a head. Find us at Lifeline Financial Programs today. We will help you find a way. Call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvlimited@gmail.com.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
This may be surreal to some of us. This may be, it might seem a little unreal to learn the real history of our people. The things which were robbed us, yes, the criminal acts which has divided and conquered our people, stolen our lands, and now peoples across the Americas, the Aborigines people, are somewhat impoverished, somewhat unfulfilled, somewhat yet to discover and find themselves by virtue of the level of crookery, disenfranchisement which has taken over their lands, their lives. Tonight, it is the time for us to understand the level of indecency which has befallen our people and take the appropriate steps to restore such. We have with us Chief of the, or I call him the INGA, by right, that's his title, INGA of the IROQUOIS Confederacy, Kota Kibe, a renowned historian who studied history of the Americas all his life, basically, and is now speaking from a point of authority and knowledge. We present him to you tonight as we examine some very critical matters as they happen across the Americas to the Aborigines people of the Americas. And until now, we are not able to get over the evil which was done to our people as people seek to, or I should say, those who visited the lands, the Ajatiska folks, as we call them, who visited our lands, sought to do for themselves what they thought would give them the edge over the peoples of the land. And today, the damage somewhat is irreparable. It will take maybe another 10, 20 years before we correct it even. Much the more to take back for ourselves our lands which were stolen from us. My brother, as we look at the evil, I would also like you, as you flow, to get back to the land, the Americas, north to south, and how the lands have been divided, and how the corporation has manipulated the peoples across the Americas, naming all the lands we live on transforming them into different business entities, now managed by politicians, which is now set to disenfranchise our people in ways that they may never even understand. As you go through this presentation, you might end up there as well as you outline this for us. Take your time, go through it. Yeah, your mic is off.
Copy that. There we go. We
Yes,
in.
go ahead.
Definitely the disenfranchisement happened when a thing called colonization happened. So it was disenfranchisement from that point. Well over 820 years, more or less, of disenfranchisement, right? So more or less so. With that being stated, a lot of people just haven't realized it, because as long as a thing is tolerable, people are usually will just tolerate the thing just because it's tolerable. All the while not knowing that what's being imposed on them is not lawful or correct or anything like that. But if you don't know, then you don't know. And if you agree, then you agree. So a lot of that's going on by people's own volition. So the wake-up call exists, and this is the wake-up call, is that you was never enfranchised to begin with. If they turn it on, they could turn it off. True that? You didn't make up your bank account number, they did, right? It ain't your bank, it's their bank. It ain't your money, you don't own the print press or nothing. It's their stuff. None of this is yours. Name something that you own in that system. Name one iota. What thing you own?
Well, they took it all from us, brother.
Took or gave?
Right?
I don't know. Took or gave, man. Look,
Terminally.
the more you know, you go from took to damn. A lot of people just gave. They read contracts and they signed them for some strange reason, and they didn't have the authorization to sign them. So it's no giving up your home. You don't give your home to nobody. That's an impossible feat. You can't give to nobody something that ain't yours.
So how did we get to the place where is it that we freely, well, of course, how could we have freely given up to these people our rights, our lands, our wealth, our every damn thing, we just gave it up like that without?
Oh, easy. Yeah, you just sign contracts without reading them, and that's how you do it.
Deception.
Well, let's ask the real question. I mean, people out there really got to ask themselves, think in your life, even currently, how many contracts that you have signed, and think about how many of them same contracts that you've actually read, and then the same ones that you've actually understood. And if you understood them, would you have signed them?
There you go. There you go.
I mean, if I'm pretty sure if they would tell you at the hospital, look, you're really an aborigine of America. But if you want to be and play and give up your birthright and heritage to be a U.S. citizen, to play in commerce and be treated as a foreigner in your own land, the same as all other foreigners coming to this land. And even worse yet, the last class, or the product of the business, one of the products of the business, not even an employee, just become a product to a certain degree of the business. Would you agree to that?
Well, I guess many of us have agreed to it and are being processed. We're processed.
Well, not have agreed to it. I mean, if someone were to bring it to you like that at the hospital when you're giving birth and when you're there seeing your children coming to the world, and they explained it to you that way, would you have signed the contract?
Even then, some of us would have, my brother. I'm absolutely sure. It's crazy, but it's true.
I don't know about that. All I'm saying is, would you have signed it?
Oh, personally, hell no. I would never have touched it.
Okay. So the key is, don't sign a contract like that. Even if you thought you might, you probably shouldn't, because you'd be signing your existence away, and you would then be a puppet for somebody else. If you don't like being a puppet for somebody else, because your life is yours, your spirit is yours, your existence is yours. The only thing we owe each other is greatness. We only owe each other greatness. We don't owe each other anything else. When I give to you, I'm not giving from something separate from me. I'm not giving it away to somebody else. I'm giving it to another part of me. And if everybody thought that way, then that'd be the difference right there.
Wow.
It's we the people, not I the individual.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
The light in me honors the light in you because we from the same light, from the same existence, from the same source.
There you go.
Right? So I'm not giving to something separate. I'm giving to another part of myself.
Right.
Just like our ancestors gave, and those before them. Not all of our ancestors, but I like to say the noble warrior ancestors, right? Because we got some ancestors that's stone cold idiots too. So hey, you know.
Well, you know, the system
It
of
happens.
money. The system of money is in direct violation of the very principle that you're outlining, my brother. Because
Well,
we are
it's
now,
not.
you know,
It,
taking, and it's all IOUs for that matter. I mean, come
it's
on.
not. That's my point. It's not. The problem is people engage in things that they don't understand, and that's the problem. The problem is not money, so-called. The problem is not the fiat currency. The problem becomes when people agree to use the fiat currency. The problem is not the crack, so to speak. The problem is the people wanting to smoke the crack. The problem ain't the cigarettes, it's the people wanting to smoke the cigarettes.
Yes.
If there's no demand for it, then there ain't no supply. I know they like to say supply and demand, but it's really demand and supply. It's because people demand a thing, the supply is there.
Like, yep, there you go.
Right. But if no one's demanding it, ain't nobody, no corporation holding on to a sinking ship.
There you go.
You ain't hot no more. You ain't selling no more. You out of there.
There you go.
All right. So there you go. Absolutely.
Wow. It seems time has really flown. We're looking at the time right now. It's very unfortunate that our time is really flying. But, it's very interesting that we may not even be able to scratch the surface this evening in a way that.
Oh no, that's not a. If it's a time constraint, it's not a possible to. I mean, we scratched a little bit, but I mean, there's a whole iceberg under this thing, so it definitely deserves a lot more attention than the allotted time. Nonetheless, if I can impart to our people who are insisting upon using the terms Black, Negro, and African American, what I can say is take a look and ask your mother where she's from.
Yes.
And then look at and see where her mother's from and her mother's from and her mother's from. And ask if there's any documentation that you come from any place in Africa. Like for real, you got to have some type of documentation. If you got birth certificate, driver's license, you need to have some type of freedom paper, slavery document, something. I mean something. And if you have no shred of evidence, and nor does anybody else as to your origins, then you can't say for certain that you from there at all.
I agree.
And if everybody is from here, then you can't say for certain that you from anywhere else. They like to document stuff. Everybody likes to date. And if it's a business, it's all about documentation. Don't never move if ain't no documentation happening in corporate America. So you can't say slavery a business and ain't no business records. What it is, multi-gajillion-dollar business, what? All the multiple assets and facets of that joint and not one shred of nothing? Not a receipt? Come on, really? Give me a break. Give me a break. Oh, and from no country. Matter of fact, it's so deep that so-called people in Africa, etc., so-called places, spaces from Egypt and all that, what war happened where the Caucasian and others came and invaded, took millions of people, built all these vessels, sailed them all the way over to a land that they just found to go ahead and bust their ass for them in that new land? Think about that. Think about the size of the operation. Food. You got to have ships, whole ships just for food, whole ships just for water. So you got to look at the help and the support. You feel me? If you packing them in like that, you want your cargo to get to where it's at. You got 6 months travel. So you got to have food and provisions for everybody for 6 months. And if you got a fleet of ships, you got to have another 2 or 3 fleet of ships just for the food and the provisions and the fresh water and whatnot to make it the journey. What tree company in Europe or England or anywhere on planet Earth was commissioned and stripped to create ships? And what shipbuilding company made the slave ships? Who did they hire and pay? What food was farmed and raised for all of these people to make these voyages when the original sailors themselves were suffering and starving and dying on their way over here? So how are they going to bring somebody else, a whole bunch of somebody else's? I don't understand it. Make it make sense. Make it make sense to me. There's a lot of evidence to back up these statements, but due to the limited time constraints, look up the founding of Liberia. Look up the term colonization, if we can, real quick. We look up the term colonization, we get to see an amazing thing. That amazing thing is not just the act of process of colonizing or state of being a colony, 1758, but is a noun of action meaning to colonize. The amazing thing is that in U.S. history, see, U.S. history, this thing a lot of people may have learned, or whatever the history is where you at, you may have learned of the slave trade. But here it states U.S. history, it means the movement for assisted immigration with an E of free blacks, not freed blacks, not blacks that were slaves, the free blacks, the so-called, the aborigines, I'm going to say, not the so-called, but the aborigines, so-called free blacks, to Africa. See, to Africa, not from Africa to America, but from America to, see, to Africa. Why? Well, for the formation of colonies over in Africa, over there. Who did that? Well, here's the people who did it. The American Colonization Society and their extensive records, which were organized in December 1816. See, here's proof of what I'm saying. Hence, a colonizationist, one who favors the colonization of emancipated slaves and, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, two different substances. The peanut butter ain't the jelly ain't the peanut butter, even though they presenting them together. Ain't the same thing. And the emancipated slaves ain't the same as free so-called blacks, is it? These are two separate entities. See, emancipated slaves and some free blacks to some other place. The free blacks are the ones who used to be Indians, who renounced their tribal rule to go be U.S. citizens and play in their stuff. A lot of our people, a lot of our ancestors are guilty. Some held strong. Most did not hold strong. Yeah.
This is gonna be really this is gonna be real. I'm seeing someone asking a question here in the chat, and of course it is going to be questionable for many people. If you notice the ticker, you might have to do your own research, because this is really serious information.
Well, here's the information. Well, here it is. I mean, I didn't create this, and I'm sorry, I didn't create it. You didn't create it. They created it. This is in U.S. history.
There you go.
So let's back that up. Let's back that statement up. Where's the U.S. history to support this? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, what was the question, though? It's cool. Questions lead to answers. So the answer is, since it states U.S. history, I guess we got to go to the official authority on the U.S. history, which is the Department of State under the United States of America, Office of the Historian. Would everybody agree you can't get no more U.S. history than that?
There you go.
Yep, all right. Copy that. Any more U.S. history than that, y'all? Don't mind me. I'm going to eat. With that being stated, the founding of Liberia. I know some people want to pronounce it Liberia, but Liberia, like liberty, Liber. TY for liberty. So Liberia, yeah, There you go. And you'll see why in a moment. Because the founding of Liberia in the early 1800s was motivated by the domestic politics of slavery and race, two different separate things presented at the same time in the newly formed United States, as well as by United States foreign policy interests. Therefore, in 1816, a group of Anglo-Americans founded the American Colonization Society. See? The American Colonization Society. 1816 December. U.S. history. American Colonization Society. 1816. Here's the absolute truth of it. You could take this stuff to any court of law anywhere. You can't take fantasy to no court of law because you ain't got nothing to bring. You ain't got nothing to bring but empty hands. Empty hands and a lot of hollow words. You ain't bringing nothing of substance to the table. Fantasy don't cut it. Can you dig it?
Wow.
So those people was created to deal with the so-called problem. The problem was the growing number, here's the word again, of what? Of free blacks. Again, the free blacks are the Indians, are you and me, are Aborigines.
There you go.
But don't call yourself a black, but I'm just saying the free blacks. We can check that by 1860 census instructions to the marshals. H. Right? And I'll blow this up. The 1860 instructions to the marshals gives clarity of what I was just stating and putting together so you can see it live and direct. And what we're going to do, we're going to search for the term Indians. Right? And as we see in this provision right here, and this is very important to understand for everybody, it's going to take a lot more than this session to get it, but it's a point of departure. This ain't the destiny yet, ain't the destination, but the point of departure. Indians not taxed. According to the Constitution in Article 1, Section 2, it states Indians not taxed. The term Indians in Bouvier's Constitution Law Dictionary, or Law Dictionary adapted to the Constitution, laws of the United States of America and several states of the American Union, Indians not taxed are not to be enumerated, meaning we're not in their system. We're not part of their society, their governance. We have our own governance and society. So Indians not taxed, meaning we're not to be counted in their system at all. However, a lot of the children of those Indians not taxed decided to do something different. And those families of Indians who voluntarily renounced their tribal rule or by any other means or methods, and who are now under state and territorial laws, meaning a citizen, and they back up exercising the rights of a citizen. So no matter where you at, if you an Aborigine to the land, you did your research, and you playing citizen, That citizen ain't for you, and that's why you are experiencing a lot of the gloom and doom that you experience
There you go.
by choice.
Wow.
In that case, you are to be counted as part of their citizenry. You see what I'm saying? Now you bound by their laws. In all such cases, write down that they used to be an Indian. Since you renounced your tribal rule, you lost your birthright, your inheritance. You lost everything. So when you did that, they wrote down that you used to be an Indian, opposite the name they gave you, in column 6, under the new heading. What they gonna call you now is a colored. There you go. That backs everything up, right? 1860. Walter Plecker come along, mind you. Right?
Wow.
And reclassified the Indians as what?
Color is perfect. That is it right there.
The Indians is you.
So this is the displacement of a nation. That's what we're seeing here.
What was that? This is a what now? My apologies.
Displacement of nations. This is crazy. Really.
Well, this is known as paper genocide.
Reclassification and displacement is crazy. Wow.
Well, the reclassification is not as crazy as people making the choice to renounce.
Abandon, yeah.
And see, that's the problem. We didn't kick nobody out. Y'all left yourselves. It's like me saying you really Aborigine and you saying, no, I don't want to be on the land. I want to go play lawyer. I want to go play stockholder. I want to go drive a Lamborghini. Once you do that, no longer an Indian. Because now you got to go by the laws of a foreign people. And according to our laws, if you go by the laws of a foreign people, that's called you have alienated yourself. And we call those people Teho Na Tonkaton, meaning those who have alienated themselves, who renounced their tribal rule, who forsake and despise their own heritage for a heritage in the land that ain't theirs. That ain't my fault. That's not the fault of people who understand who we are. That's everybody else's fault who don't understand, who say, forget you, I'm black, who say, no, I'm really from Africa. All this stuff. Again, lineage goes through the mother, not the father. So trace your mother's line, and if you're from Africa, embrace your heritage wherever in Africa you're from.
My brother, we're up to the wire. It's actually 10 o'clock, and my goodness gracious, time does fly when you're having fun.
Right?
If you were to leave a final word with us tonight, what would that be? You have 3 minutes.
That would be research everything, question everything. Don't accept anybody's words for face value. Require proof of all things said to you and of all answers, and make sure the source of that proof is a primary source, not a secondary source, tertiary source, or any other source. Right? Primary source is possible. 2, once you understand the truth, seek out the truth always and diligently and pound it in until it becomes a part of every part of your existence. And speak that truth, even if your voice shakes. So with that being said, I'm going to say, keep your tomahawk in your hand and keep your feathers flying high. And again, always speak the truth, even if your voice shakes, because we are the American Aborigines. And we here to stay, y'all. Oh, and the Grand Inca is here. Yeah, she got a couple words for y'all.
Of course. I hope she's not afraid to come on. Huh?
Oh, no, she's right here. She gonna get the...
Bring her on. Yeah, let her come and address us.
No credit.
And now we present to you the Grand Anchor of the IROQUOIS Confederacy. Drum roll.
Then I slide
My
in.
beloved sister, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for asking. I know my voice is so little. I gotta
Oh, stop
speak
that.
up.
It's all that's a great voice you got right there. That's amazing. Listen, it's absolutely amazing just having you on, just to share with our people, just to express yourself. Uh, our Inca has been an absolutely amazing source of inspiration. And of course, standing behind every great man, they say, is a great woman. What's that experience? Just before we run off topics.
Well, my brothers and my sisters, it's a great honor. That's the first thing that it is. It's an honor to be able to be a voice for our people, to liberate our people, to create the space and place for healing for our people, also for our people to be acknowledged as the people that we are, the Aborigine American people of the land, and it's due time for us to get what is deserved to us, what has been aired to us, what has always been ours since time immemorial, is our land, our resources are all sacred to us. It's sacred to our ability to continue our prosperity, to pass things on to our lineage 7 generations in the past, yet to come.
Yes.
Not even so much in the past, but in the future for generations yet to come. And so it's important and vital for our survival that we pass this information on to our lineage, because we have been deceived. And that's the bottom line. We've been deceived on many different levels, via the education system being one of the main mechanisms behind it. But also attached to that, you have hospitals, you have every institution that they've instructed, constructed on our land, ultimately used against us as the indigenous people of the Americas. So we owe it to our ancestors, we owe it to ourselves, and we owe it to the future generations to get this thing right.
Yes, indeed. For people who are a little on the afraid side, because we have some folks who right now they're wondering, hey, is this thing for real? Hey, can we really pull this off? What would you say to them?
I say to them, you must not trust in yourself. You must not believe in who your mother's 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 mother was. So then you're disrespecting them if you don't believe in what they've told you. And the stories are very prevalent in each of our lives. Hey, somebody get him some water.
Yes, indeed.
Something to drink.
There you go. Our mother's there working right there.
And so, yes, indeed, it's of vital importance. And I know it, one thing I want to say, and it's, I guess, what people call on the keeping it real side, is this ain't for the faint at heart. And if you ain't sure who you are, then stay on the sidelines until you get it together. But I know who my grandmother said, and who her mother said, and who her mother said we are, not was, partially, no, full-blooded indigenous to America. Their narrative is proven to be wrong. We got all the facts. What you afraid of? That's what I say to them. What you afraid of? To be you?
You are living the life. You are the it. This is the everyday thing for you. And it comes very natural. This is you. This is the Aborigines of America.
Yes. That's why we're still here, the fearless ones. You heard me?
So now
we're looking at from the fearless ones.
You understand? Now we're looking at our people across Central America, South America, who are still grappling with, hey, I wonder if this is for real type thing.
Oh, no, yes, it's real. We live it. Hey, Coda, did you show them the document of life? I gave life to a child who is not attached to that system. And it's so real. It's so very possible to just be you. You have not, because you have not asserted not. We've asserted our narrative because it is our truth. We're living out our truth. I'm not going to know that this is who I ascend from, who my lineage is, and just sit back and say, that is so wrong of them. And no, it's so wrong of you not to do nothing. So I can't sit back and just shake my head. I got to take action. And it's time for action. It's time for people to put action behind their words, or else you're living a lie. You're knowingly, willingly participating in a system that does not serve you, and it doesn't serve your future generations. You're not going to be in my house and tell me what to do. My mother's mother ain't never left nobody of European descent control or me. You are not my boss. And they serve as people's bosses, you see, making decisions on behalf of other people that just doesn't serve you. It's always a system set up to oppress, marginalize, capitalize upon the indigenous people. They know who we are. They know the truth.
We have online the Grand Inca of the Iroquois Confederacy, and goodness gracious, isn't she a blazing ball of fire? Goodness gracious. She's living the life she
Well, the
once
truth needs no
spoke about.
apology, right?
And she is blazing the raw truth as we have it tonight. We welcome you to the program, my beloved sister. And of course, we will keep in touch as we continue to share
Great honor.
raw truth. The raw truth.
I thank you. Much gratitude to you, my brother, for putting this platform together. It is, it's time. It's
Yes,
time,
absolutely.
and hashtag time's up for them.
There you go. Absolutely. My sister,
Peace,
respect
light, and love.
We
Peace,
salute
light,
you
and
all.
love, everyone. There's more where this came from. We just touched the iceberg. You know, I look forward to presenting alongside Coda. You know, I'm a little busy sometimes with the little one, but it's time to rise up, stand up, give honor to our ancestors. Peace, light, and love, everyone.
Peace, light, and love to you as well, my beloved sister. The Grand Inca, as she speaks, the Inca and Grand Inca, absolutely an absolute pleasure to have them on this evening. And of course, this is a very, very interesting development as we share with you this development coming out of the Americas, out of the mother country, the Big A, the Inca and the Grand Inca of the Iroquois Confederacy, as they share with us in a way that is absolutely amazing. This is absolutely serious, as they live the life of the indigenous people of the nation. They walk the talk, they talk the walk. They are the it, and they're saying to us, we have been abrogated, our rights have been abrogated. They have stolen from us. It's time we take back our lands and live the life. Goodness gracious. You got it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Proverbial horse's mouth. You heard it for yourself. We thank you so much for sharing with us. We thank you so much for being a part of the program this evening. You heard it for yourself. And yes, there are real people in the world who are living the life. For those of you who are still a little skeptical if it's real, yes, and yes, it's real. And as we continue down this path to share with you the real laws of the peoples of the Americas, North to South America, the Caribbean region being Central America, where the great tree is planted, sending its roots to the north, the south, the east, and the west. We continue to share with you from a perspective of truth, the actual facts of our people. Peace to you all. If you're not a member of our platform, please go to Facebook, go to PSI TV, like the page. If you're watching us from YouTube, go to YouTube, subscribe to the page, click the subscribe button and click on the bell, click the bell. And if you're watching us from LinkedIn, go to LinkedIn and like our page as well, because we will continue to share with you consistently from time to time, every Monday evening at 8 p.m. The raw truth coming to you straight across the Americas, to you right where you are in your neck of the woods. Remember, share this video, share it with everyone. And if you have any questions you would like to ask, if you would like to become a member of the Iroquois Confederacy via the Oyatan Nation, which is responsible for our people across Central Americas, please email us at the raw truth info, rawtruthinfo@gmail.com. Contact us at rawtruthinfo@gmail.com. We can add you to the assembly, and of course, when the day is over, as long as you become a member of the assembly, you will continue to get direct information as we move forward. I'll say again, if you wish to become a member of the Iroquois Confederacy via the Oyata Nation, which is responsible for Central Americas, the Caribbean region, if that's where you're watching from, or if you would like to connect with the Inca himself, as you would like to establish a people as part of the Iroquois Confederacy, we can put you onto the Inca himself. You can have a talk with them, and we can arrange for you to arrange yourself wherever you are from. But for those of us across the Caribbean region who would like to get connected with the Confederacy via the Oyata Nation, which is responsible for the activities within Central America's Caribbean region as a whole, please contact us right here on the Raw Truth Info, rawtruthinfo@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and goodness gracious, it's a pleasure just being here with you. Be sure to join us next Monday evening again, a date for another episode of the Raw Truth. And like to all my people, peace until we meet again next Monday evening. All the best.
You have been watching the latest development, and you seem to be very unsure of what to do next. You know something is about to happen, but again, you simply keep watching without a clue as to what to do next. Wake up, my brothers and sisters. You must move now to save yourselves. You must move now to prepare yourselves for the peril ahead. To delay is to open yourself to serious trouble, and there will be no one to blame but you. Lifeline Financial Programs has always been telling you that things will get very serious very quickly if you do not move now to prepare for what is coming. Nothing will get better. We are on a downhill ride. You must get up and move now to save yourself. It is predicted that you will be having serious financial problems soon. Will you sit and wait until everything has crashed then say, "If I had known"? Find us today at Lifeline Financial Programs. We have the best plans to keep you alive during the trying times ahead. Mark my word. You will remember every word I say. Don't wait until everything has fallen apart and you are running around like a chicken without a head. Find us at Lifeline Financial Programs today. We will help you find a way. Call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvlimited@gmail.com.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.